What's up, guys? This is Boondocks, and today I want to talk about Excalibur and the support build I like to run on him. So typically when people think of Excalibur, they think of one thing, and that's his Exalted Blade. The reason being because it does a lot of damage that scales really well into the late game, but there's another thing that makes him scale amazingly well, and that's his ability to blind every single enemy around him for a considerable amount of time. And that one ability is Radial Blind. So as you can see, the way I currently have him modded, the range on Radial Blind is ridiculous. Additionally, it's going to last for 30 seconds. So an enemy that's blinded can't attack you or your teammates, and additionally they're opened up to any type of finishers from melee. And because of that, you can do some serious damage. As far as how I actually mod Excalibur, because I'm not focusing on any of the other abilities, but I'm still going to be doing the melee for the finisher damage, I'm going to throw on Steel Charge. Then I'm going to use Narrow-Minded and Continuity. Now, I do want to have as much range as possible, so the negative range on Narrow-Minded is kind of annoying, but I can generally make up for that because I'm going to be using an Overextended. Because I'm not concerned about the power strength of this build, the Overextended doesn't actually affect me. Instead, it just gives me that ridiculous rage bonus, and that coupled with stretch will give me more than enough to affect a lot of enemies. As you might remember, it was over 46 meters. I'm not going to use Constitution to go with Continuity and Narrow-Minded, however, because with the current rank I have in Narrow-Minded, adding on a Constitution would only get me to 230% duration, which is only another 4 seconds on my ability, and to me that's not worth it. I'm going to use a Flow and Streamline because more energy plus efficiency means I can use Radial Blind more often. Finally, I'm going to use Redirection as my one defensive ability, but feel free to toss on Vitality or Steel Fiber even, because Excalibur does have very well-rounded defensive stats. And then one of the main things you might want to throw on him is the Syndicate mod Radiant Finish. This makes it so any blinded enemies are going to take 300% more finisher damage. And to me, that's awesome because I'm going to be doing mostly melee damage with this build. As far as my primary and secondary are concerned, well, not that big of an issue. I use the Boltor just because it's one of my favorite weapons, but feel free to swap it out for a sniper rifle. In fact, I actually recommend it, either a sniper rifle or a serious crit bow, just to help pick off those long-range targets. Then I'm going to use the Sonic Ore for the same reason as I always do, the control aspect of it, and if you do manage to get downed from a lucky enemy shot or something, this will help control the enemies while your teammates come over and res you. The weapon I actually prefer to use the most with this build is the Redeemer. What the Redeemer does? Well, it's a gun blade. So, as you can see, it's got these two shotgun barrels. So not only can you use the blades on the side as melee attacks, but if you charge up your attack or pull off combos, you're going to fire a shotgun blast. With the proper mods, as well as a blinded enemy, that shotgun blast will do as much, if not more, damage than a fully modded Sancti Tigris. And because of that, I find the Redeemer just to be so much fun to use. So, because it is kind of an integral part to how I like to play this, I'm going to show how I currently have my Redeemer modded. It's going to use the High Noon stance because that's the only one available. Fury, because this will actually let me cast the shotgun blast more often. It does have a charge time before it goes off. Unfortunately, they have buffed the Redeemer a month or so ago to make that charge time a lot faster, and by throwing on a Fury, it goes even quicker. Now, if you were to use the Redeemer on, say, a Volt or Valkyr, who have attack speed bonuses, holy crap, it's like shotgun blast, shotgun blast, shotgun blast. That never runs out of ammo and never has to reload. It's a lot of fun. I'm then going to throw on Finishing Touches because, again, blinded enemies are open to finisher damage. This will just increase it that much more for me. As well as using Fever Strike and Shocking Touch to get my corrosive damage. Then I'm going to buff that a little bit more with Focus Energy and Virulent Scourge. Finally going to finish it off with a Vicious Frost, just because I don't have the additional electric damage ability, but feel free to swap this out with anything that you might want, maybe even a Life Strike. Finally, Pressure Point, because obviously bonus 120 melee damage, no reason not to use that. So I do want to show off the power with this, so stick with me as I go to the simulator. So here I am in the simulator, and as you can see, I'm going to try going up against a whole different assortment of corrupted enemies. Now, if I didn't mention it before, the Xeneric focus tree is probably the best on this, so it's going to let you regain the energy to cast more blinds more often. So now that these enemies are blinded, I can just shotgun blast them to the face with my Redeemer. And as you can see, it does a considerable amount of damage. One thing you might want to consider though, as far as the blind's concerned, it's only going to affect enemies that have a clear line of sight to you. And outside of that, you're going to have to move around to re-blind them. So if you're going as the pure support character for a group, you might want to think about kind of migrating about to guarantee that all the enemies are blinded and therefore can't hurt your teammates. But as you can see, these level 90 corrupted are just falling very quickly. And you can go up and use the finisher for even extra bonus damage. Boom. And one cool feature is that, oh, well, didn't work that time. Let's see if I can get it without killing all these guys. Maybe not. So the Redeemer actually does have a knockover component associated with it, and because of that, it can be used sort of as a controlling type ability. But as you can see, it's both deadly at range and in melee, and because of that, I find it to be one of my favorite weapons as far as melee is concerned. I honestly think it's quickly taking over my #1 spot. As far as the combos that you can pull off with the Redeemer, because to me, the support build synergizes so well with this weapon, I don't want to separate the two. The combos that you can pull off are pretty cool. Though, against a blinded enemy, they're sometimes harder to pull off, just because they're going to die pretty damn quickly. But you've already seen the basic charged attack. The basic combo, just by spamming the abilities, will basic melees finish with a gun blast. If you attack once and then pause and go through with the attack, you get that cool combo where he's going to jump up, fire twice, and then do like the jump spin. Let me show it one more time. Or the jump slash, rather, not spin. This one has the spin, I think. If you hold block and then attack, yeah. So, as you can see, they're really cool looking combos, but in all honesty, just charge blast or walk up and finish the enemy off, assuming they're blinded. That's by far going to be the most efficient process for you. And meanwhile, since the enemies are blinded, you should be taking no damage. And because of that, Excalibur and his entire team will be in a nice little blanket of blind safety. So definitely try it out, guys. And until next time, like, comment, subscribe. Peace.